What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Feed me now! I'm starving!
RadioWhat.com.
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. Today on the program, Karen Walker and a surprise guest. Yeah, I say surprise to me. I thought it was just going to be speaking to Karen Walker. I have Dr. Phil Fletcher on as well. I know on previous programs we've mentioned Dr. Phil Fletcher in passing as a member of Coho, and you get to hear a little bit more about him and Karen Walker in the next few minutes. So you have that to look forward to. This week's shows, let's see, as I record this, it's Saturday during the day. So this evening, I will be at Los Cabos Mexican restaurant in Morrilton, Arkansas. Kind of excited, brand new spot. They asked me a couple weeks back if I had Valentine's Day available. I did not. I was at the Rab last night in Conway, Arkansas, but I did have Saturday night, February 15th available. So they said, yeah, let's do the Love Fest right then. So Los Cabos Mexican restaurant in Morrilton, Arkansas. Haven't been there, but I've heard good things. Big restaurant, great food, nice people, good service, so I'm looking forward to that. Tonight, the Love Fest continues at Los Cabos Mexican Restaurant in Morrilton, Arkansas. Next week, let's see, Friday night, I'll be at the Rab once again, so come on out. The Rab, Friday night, my regular Friday night gig. I'm there at least probably about 50 weeks out of the year, so come on out to the Rab. Friday night, 8 p.m. until almost 2 in the a.m. Of course, we'll talk more, probably in the next week, about that. Well, without further ado, hey, I don't even have to get them on the phone. I get to talk to Karen Walker and Phil Fletcher in person. We're traveling over to the studio downtown. That's a little workspace. That's a nice, well, it's one of those communal workspaces. I don't know if you've even heard of them, but they popped up, I think, recently. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this, but the studio downtown is kind of a communal workspace where there's mix-match chairs, and you pretty much just get your own space. But the advantage of being there is not only it's the office space is minimal, the cost is minimal, but there you get to see different people of the community and possibly interact and exchange ideas over at the studio downtown. So yeah, I got good things to say about the studio downtown. So talk to Kate. She's the manager over there, the owner, the brainchild of the studio downtown. All right, let's travel to the studio downtown to meet up with Karen Walker and Phil Fletcher now. Here, you sit here. You get the head. Oh yeah, the people like a little ASMR in their ears. Flip that next to your talking hole somewhere, and it's all quiet. And away we go. Karen Walker, since you were the one that officially got me here to the studio downtown, and we got Phil Fletcher. That's a surprise for me. I didn't even know I was going to get to talk to you.
Well, hey.
Now Phil's going to be.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're.
Okay, good.
Well, we're live recording as well. But I didn't even get the idea that I was going to have Phil on here. I talked to Phil Fletcher. It was almost a year ago, and I said, "Hey, you need to be on my podcast." And he said, "Yeah," and then Phil's on his way. Karen Walker, since you were the first one to ask, well, you have something that you need to promote. And here we are on the What Makes You Famous podcast. And hopefully my listeners, most of them are here in Conway, Arkansas, or in the surrounding areas. So a lot of them are all over the world. But maybe they'll travel. Karen Walker, tell the people who you are.
Hi, I'm Karen Walker from Karen Walker Speaks, but I also am a board member with City of Hope Outreach, which we call Co-Hope, right here in Conway, Arkansas. And what we have going is an amazing 3v3 tournament that's going to benefit Co-Hope. And what's so unique about this tournament is we have something for everyone. If you are in junior high, there's a bracket. If you're in high school, there's a bracket. And if you are an adult, there's a bracket. And we also have a fourth bracket, and that's for businesses or organizations. Like you have a business and you want to sponsor your team, whether it's your staff, your coworkers, or if you just want to sponsor some other adults, that's cool too. It's going to be a day of fun, something for everybody to pull everybody together for a good cause. It's like balling with a cause.
Well, you went through what 3-on-3 is, but I don't know what 3-on-3 is. Is it a basketball game? I'm looking on the card here.
Oh, man. 3v3. Oh, yeah, I tell you, Phil can probably speak to that better than I can. I'm the rah-rah, let's get it done person. 3v3 is usually you grab your team, 4 people. You have 3, and then you have your alternate that can go in when somebody's tired or somebody's injured. And it's just a 3v3 basketball where you're playing against another team, and the first one that gets to, what's the score, Phil? I think it's
typically it's 21.
21. First team 21 wins. And so you're playing them, and then you blow them out, then you play the other team, and you get your finals. So from each bracket, there's going to be a winner. They get a mega huge trophy. Each member's going to get a little medallion. Then they're going to get a swag bag with some gift cards and stuff. So it's just going to be a really fun event, I think.
When is it?
It's going to be on March the 14th. It's going to be at the beautiful Hyper Center right there on the campus of UCA, the University of Central Arkansas. Right. So they'll have a state-of-the-art court. We'll have professional referees. It's just going to be a good time. But it's a great time to use your balling skills. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, everybody wants to exercise and do healthy stuff. But here's a way to get that health fitness go, Matt. You just grab 3 more people, sign up online. You can go to the Coho website, which is COHO58 .org.
Karen Walker, I'm seeing your smiling face early in the morning on a Saturday here at the studio downtown. Thanks for inviting me here. I like this place. I've done a couple of podcasts here at the studio downtown with John from Detail Coffee and Kate Carnahan, who runs this place.
Absolutely.
I think it's her brainchild pretty much that has put this together. But all right, we got the promotion out of the way. Let's get to know the people behind the promotion. Phil Fletcher, I haven't heard much from you. You're having lunch. So if there's a little ASMR in your ears, you know, a little chewing, then you'll know it's Phil Fletcher. And he looks like he's got, what do you got there to eat?
He got some good chicken and baked beans from Fat Daddy's.
Fat Daddy's, all right, little barbecue action.
Yeah.
I've been needing to go into that place. I've been to the one in Russellville towards London, and that one's delicious, man. Yeah, I'm guessing it compares. That it's the same people that came down here and split off.
Yes.
Phil Fletcher, who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you?
I am the son of Philip Lee and Georgette Fletcher, and the husband of Nicole Fletcher, and the father of Nicholas, Najee, and Michelle Fletcher. So that's who I am.
That's it, man. That's the way it used to be back before before technology really took over. Even before the 1900s, it's not. Who you are is not what you did, like what you did for a job. Yeah. Who you are is who your people are.
Yeah.
And he started right there. Who's my people?
Right.
My mom, my dad, my grandma. You know, you just keep going down the line. Yeah. It used to be. It's even in the Bible where you have a whole line of people. Begat.
Right.
All the way down to the end. That's very biblical, man. I like that, Phil Fletcher.
I appreciate that. Because typically we ask, hey, what's my name? What do I do?
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
What happens. So I think it's more important to talk about. Well, you asked the correct question.
Uh-huh.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
And you can answer that any way you want.
Right. That's right.
Well, good. Phil Fletcher. All right.
So what do I do?
There we go.
There you
Let's
go.
get down to that.
The slide in.
So started an organization, City Hope Outreach, 13 years ago here in Conway. And I was coming off the military. Mm-hmm. I was a combat arms officer and was going to do 2 years here in Conway just to finish some schooling and go back on active duty. God had different plans and was driving home and was impressed by my heart to make a right on Robbins. It's a street here in Conway. So if you're familiar with Conway, the main arteries are Harkrider and Dave Ward and Oak Street. So I was coming down Harkrider, coming into town, and made a right going east. There's this trailer park supposed to do ministry. So that's what happened. So me, Nicole, our 3 kids, we started with some folding chairs and a sound system. So 13 years later, fast forward, we're in 2 different locations here in Conway and do work in Eudora, that's in South Arkansas, Mitchellville, South Arkansas, and then started some work up in Northeast Arkansas in Corning. And so we focus on education, housing, community development. So that's why people need to participate in this 3-on-3 basketball tournament, because these funds, as a fundraiser, go to support what we do on a daily basis. So go to the website, coho5a.org, to sign up and stuff. So that's what I do on a daily basis.
Well, previous to that right-hand turn, that fateful right-hand turn, had you been preaching or preaching the gospel at different places, different areas?
When I was in the military, I'd help out the chaplains and things like that. But my primary, I tell people, in a former life, I was taking life. And now what I do is give life. So in the military, we didn't have missions and things like that. I'd help out the chaplains with ministry and things like that, kind of as a side thing, but things change.
Well, I appreciate what you did in the military. I appreciate whatever you did in the military. I wish we didn't have to have a military. Let's all get together and find some love. All right, a public service message from me. How about that?
Yeah,
Phil Fletcher. Yeah. You've said a little bit about who you are. Karen Walker, let's hear who you are.
Well, I am the daughter of Jimmy and Adeline Strickland. My dad went to heaven in 2015. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Born in Arkansas, left in the 60s when my dad got out of Vietnam. Grew up in Detroit, moved back to Arkansas as an adult, and I love it. And I have an amazing husband, Andre Walker, and I have 3 kiddos. I have an adult daughter. She's like 31 now. Can you believe that? Tiffany. And then I have my 17-year-old Andre Jr., and then my baby is 15, Analia. So that's my family. Yeah. So that's kind of who I am. I'm one of these people that I love life with the ups and the downs and the valleys and the turns. And I love encouraging, especially women. So that's who I am.
So empowering women, is that the thing that you're really into? What is the thing that you said that you were involved in, that your personal...
Oh, my personal business? My personal business, I have a business called Karen Walker Speaks, and it's all about helping women get unstuck, get a fresh perspective, and build a life they love. They call me on my business card, I'm a public speaker, an encourager, and a joy strategist.
How did that start? Where you felt like, how did you feel like, I have some knowledge, let me impart this to the people, to the women in the world? How did that start? Were you always a public speaker in school and in your early life?
Well, for 21 years, I used to guest speak for Conway Public Schools and Mayflower, Russellville, different schools and stuff like that. And I've been speaking along the way over the years. So it's just only in recent years that I decided to just kind of put a pin in it and go, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love to do. So I'm going to make it my business, right? And that's what I do. I become a joy strategist because I really like encouraging people. And over the years, I've had people, especially young people, grow up to be adults that come back successful and say how much I encourage them and all of that. And so,
that's an honor. That is definitely an honor for a teacher, for anyone. And I consider you a teacher if you're going to be involved with shaping young minds. Yeah. And if they come back and thank you in any way, that's got to be amazing. In school, they said, I thought maybe I'd want to be a teacher. My top 2 things on the ASVAB were, I was going to go into the Navy, but my top 2 things were beautician and photographer. I like taking pictures, but I guess that means I'm into making people feel good. Yeah. Taking pictures at their best time, So how did you, I know that's a little bit about me, but Karen Walker, how did you get involved? You say you do stuff with the community. You're in public television now. And you just gave me a little scoop before the podcast. What is AATN changing to?
Oh, yes. AATN is changing to Arkansas PBS. And that's a change that's going on around the nation at the PBS affiliates, because it's very easy when you say, oh, I work for AATN, they're like, oh, what's that? But when you say Arkansas PBS, we're very clear that we are a PBS affiliate. So I'm the community education manager there. I do all kinds of engagement workshops around the state and create learning experiences and all of that. So I kind of, like, even with my business, it's the thing that I love to do. Yeah. So it really doesn't feel like work a lot of times. But one thing I found with women, one reason I do workshops like conflict resolution, time management with men and women. But my focus is on women because many women will raise their children, or their children will get on up in age, and they're lost. They don't know what to do with themselves, or they've had dreams or aspirations, and they put those to the side to raise a family. So now they're just stuck sometimes. And so my whole goal is to encourage them to dream some new dreams and do some cool things. And it's not necessarily, they may not want to start a business, but they might want to go into painting. They may want to go travel Europe. They may want to do some things that they haven't done before. So we try to give them tools when we do workshops and stuff, give them tools and things to help them work on building the best life ever. And that looks different from every woman.
Man, that's a little circle around Karen Walker, and then I have the little circle around Phil Fletcher. And where does the Venn diagram come together? Who met who? And what were you doing the first time that the two forces that I have here across from me at this table came together? And what were you doing in the middle of that Venn diagram? Let's go with Phil Fletcher on this one. Let's hear from you.
I don't know. Did we meet through the car?
Maybe, but what Phil doesn't know, or he may, is I was a fan of Phil Fletcher way back before he ever knew who I was.
Same.
I was like,
I heard about you from Claudia Fountain, and I heard good things from the Brookside thing. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you got to meet Phil Fletcher. All right, I'm meeting Phil Fletcher. But yes, go ahead.
I met, and then we had at that time, I go to Mosaic Church, we had a dynamic pastor, Anthony Hendricks. Mm-hmm. And that's how I think I really come to know the work of Phil Fletcher. I'm like, this dude is coming to Arkansas, he's doing things, right? Because sometimes it's hard, if you didn't grow up in this community, sometimes it's hard to get those inroads. And I've watched Phil over the years, even when met sometimes with, the little stumbling blocks and bricks to the head, he keeps going, and he does it for the kids and for the people. And so that's one of the things that's attracted me to want to be on the board. When I was asked to be on the board, first time I was just really busy, I couldn't. But I wanted to be on the board because I see the work, and it's not work that's here today and gone tomorrow, that flash in the pan type stuff. Mm-hmm. He stayed the course, and the work he's doing matters. So that grabs my heart, right? Yeah. And so it makes you want to be a part of what he's doing. So.
Hey, if your calling is to help people, you help people.
Yeah.
Phil Fletcher, you help people. Karen Walker, you help people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Even when it's hard.
Yes.
And people say, I'm too busy. Well, make yourself less busy.
Mm-hmm.
Take an hour out of your day and have a little podcast and maybe promote some people. Put it on your page. Put it out to the world. Yeah. And I tell everybody they can have a podcast. Karen Walker, we're going to talk about your podcast a little bit later. Phil Fletcher, you definitely need a podcast.
He has one.
All the stuff you do. And I know you do. That's right. That is so right. Yeah. I think I listened to part of one episode, but I need to find out how to get that on my Podcast Addict app. But Phil Fletcher, tell the people more about the Venn diagram and how you met.
Well, when we was attending Mosaic, I think that's when our relationship increased. I mean, we see each other every Sunday and stuff. And then asked her to be on the board. Pretty professional young lady, handles business at PBS, I guess now.
Arkansas PBS.
Yeah, Arkansas PBS. And then we did some work together. Did some different things at PBS.
Phil was rocking our stuff.
Thing that she puts on for high schoolers. And then I did something with poverty a couple of years before that. So the relationship's always been there. Bounce things off of one another. And, it's in order to do this work, in order to help people, especially what we do, you have to be able to have a broad reach and be able to reach different types of people and be involved with different types of people, even if you don't agree with them. You got to find commonalities, and so I have this, I can see something in people. It's like, hey, I need you to do this. And sometimes people are like, well, I don't see it. That's fine, but I see it. It'll come out eventually, right? So, and I see that the skills, abilities people have, whatever occupations they have, and I work very hard to try to connect that occupation or skill to how you can help somebody else. When I go speak at the colleges, one of the first things I open up with is, you're not here to get a job. Some professors are like, what did he just say? And I was like, no, you don't come to university or college to get a job. You come to improve your own life and the life of other people. Money is just a side consequence of that. Somebody sees value in it, then obviously they'll pay you for it. But ultimately, your education is meant to improve who you are. And so philosophers said that philosophy, basically learning things, is ways of dying to yourself. So when you learn new things, right, whatever you previously learned, that new thing that you learned that lines up with reality, that old thing dies. And so you experience more about life. And so that's what I try to help people to see. I got to die to myself first. And then I'm like, hey, did you know this? Dan, did you know? Let me flip it back on you. You can use your podcast to talk about people who are in some straight difficulty, right? Yeah. People may not know about that, but it's you using your sphere of influence to reach a broad audience, and they may hit somebody else who's like, I didn't know about that. Let me check in on that. And you don't think it's of consequence, but actually it is. And so I try to have people flip it on its head. Don't worry about the money, right? Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself. Worry about using your skills and your talents, your calling, your vocation in order to improve yourself and others.
Phil Fletcher, you talk about putting people together in the skills that they have, and you've already put me together with a couple of coho functions indirectly. Mm-hmm. I know through Ambra and through Claudia that they've asked me to do things for coho. So I'm very happy that I've been a small part. I got to DJ some events there. Yay! Right. So okay. Wow, I don't even know where to go. You've given me so much to unpack, but let's go back to Karen Walker and go broader into who you are. You're from Detroit?
Yeah, I grew up there.
But born in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. But how did you get to Detroit?
Well, when my dad got out of Vietnam, he moved the family north for a job, so they took me with them. So we grew up there.
Oh, wait, they take their kids with them?
Yeah, they decided that we'll take the kids, so we did. And I grew up there.
How long did you spend in Detroit?
I was in Detroit until I was 20.
Yeah, big music town.
Big music town. Yeah. I mean, there was somebody in town every weekend. You could go see somebody perform. So yeah, rich history there. That was when, the city was still thriving and growing. It's on the rebound now. I
just talked to a gentleman from Detroit. He moved all the way out to Atlanta to start his film career because Detroit was hard to grow up in.
Yes.
How was it growing up in Detroit? Detroit. Isn't that French? Oh.
Yeah, I think, and it goes back to, I had some very unique parents, right? I had these, and I didn't realize how amazing my parents were until I was an adult. But we did. We didn't make the most of money, where a lot of people in our neighborhood, they worked at the big factories and they had all this money and stuff. And yet my dad was such an excellent money manager that we didn't realize we were poor until we were older, because he was real big on, he worked 2 jobs, but big on family time. You remember way back in the day, I know I'm dating myself, but there was such thing as
I'm okay with that.
The drive-in movie.
What's a drive-in, Grandma?
Yeah. So, on Saturdays, that was our thing. No matter how tired Dad was, he would take us either on a Friday or Saturday night. We put on our pajamas and we go as a family to the to the drive-in movie, or we do stuff like go to Belle Isle Park, which is really big, and they have the aquarium down there. We go take photos by the flowers. I mean, just those experiences that were so rich that I didn't know that they were until I realized that wasn't commonplace for a lot of other people to have two parents and to have parents that really cared about you enough to put rules and boundaries and things for you. And so, at first, we were like, well, why can't we go off the block and it's dark, But all of those things, I think, very much was a protection for us, because many of the kids, as we grew up on our block, some of them didn't make it to success. They didn't make it out the neighborhood. Wow. And my dad's, me, my sister, my brother, we did. We all came out as stable kids, right?
Well,
we have our quirks.
The blessing of having two parents that love you and want to bring you up in a proper way. And you mentioned something in that kind of stuck out. Factory workers make a lot of money.
I
never associated that.
Yes. I think that was some of the attraction, too, of Detroit for especially a lot of African Americans moved from southern states. There's some books out there about the flight north because of the money in the industry. Yeah, Phil's nodding his head because he knows they could buy big homes because they were making mega money, right?
Yeah.
But that also was the downfall for Detroit. Remember when stuff started with all the automation, and now you're replacing people with robots and things. So now when you're losing jobs, all of that money is going away. Now people are losing their homes. You know what I mean? It was just this downward spiral for people. So, but like I said, it's on the up now. I was there a couple years ago for a conference, walked around downtown. They're beautiful. They're building it up. Investors are buying property and stuff. So it's pretty neat. But I don't care how well they build it. I will always love Detroit. But I've just really grown to love where I am.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're here in Conway, Arkansas.
Love it.
And right downtown. And
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the place. It's pretty nice. They keep it kind of clean here.
They do.
With all these small towns around us. I've been to a lot of the small towns. In fact, I'm going to Morrilton tonight for a show, doing a karaoke show, Love Fest at Los Cabos. And I know that the downtowns in different areas are not as well kept as Conway. But I'm very happy to be here as well.
Me too. And speaking of the when we were talking about the studio, I'm one of the founding members.
The studio.
I love the studio.
Yeah.
This is the place where I call it my jam, because it's where creativity flows. It's where you see all kinds of people, different walks of life, and everyone's here. They're about their business, but they're also about helping others. So when you walk in, there's just a unique vibe that you just don't feel in other places. And Conway, what I love about it is you can have the small town with somewhat of a big town feel. Mm-hmm. But once you grew up in like a big city like me,
Miami,
hello. My husband grew up in LA, so Conway doesn't seem as big, but it has a big heart. And I've been really pleased and impressed with the way the leadership is going right now in Conway. When you look at how they're building stuff all around us, it's giving you, I don't know, just a different feel. I don't really think I could live in a huge city again after being here and growing with this city.
Yeah.
No,
I got convinced to move here because of Conway Core, the way it's structured, the way that the city, it's 58,000 people, but or at least that's what the sign says. I haven't seen the new census, and I guess it hasn't come out.
It's coming out.
Yeah, it should come out soon.
Year.
But you don't need to go anyplace else. We have all the amenities we need, and more keep coming to Conway, Arkansas. So this portion of the podcast brought to you by Conway Tourism and the studio downtown.
Go Conway.
Phil Fletcher, where are you from?
Born in Louisville, Kentucky, and grew up in Riverside, California.
What? How's that?
All I know is big city. Yeah. But so this is a culture shock even.
Yeah, well, yeah. What was the jump from Louisville, and how long did you spend there?
I lived there till I was 10. My dad got a job promotion, and then we moved to Riverside.
Yeah.
In 83, summer 83. And then my parents moved back to Louisville. He got promoted again.
What kind of work?
He was a CFO, basically. Finance and accounting. And
smart guy.
Yeah.
Money man? Numbers man?
Yeah. And so they moved back my freshman year of college, and I stayed in California. To me, why would you leave California?
Why would you leave California?
I love California.
So, but unfortunately, We left California.
Yeah, well,
because it got too expensive.
The question I get is why are you here? You're from Miami, the Florida Keys? Dan? Why are you here?
Only the Lord.
Yeah.
I was only here, I came here one at a time when me and Nicole were dating. And
Nicole is?
my wife.
Currently.
Yeah. And we was walking downtown. Her uncle lived like right next to the hospital, Conway Regional. I was like, I would never move here. From my lips to God's ears. He's like, I got you. So, boom.
Yes, you will.
So, I was actually talking to one of my staff members yesterday, and she was like, why do you think you're here? And I was like, this is my exile. And you know how people call it Jeremiah 29, right? Well, the context of Jeremiah 29 is that the Israelites are actually in exile, right? And while they're in exile, he says, seek the peace of the city. Shalom. So, marry off your kids, build houses, plant gardens, seek the peace of the city, right? So I was like, well, I got kids. I ain't married them off yet, right? Build houses, working on that with our Hope Village project. Planted gardens through our Coho Gardens project. Help the homeless, help with kids. So yeah, I'm seeking the peace of the city. So I try to apply Jeremiah 29 in its correct context.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how much longer more?
Rest of your life, hopefully. I mean, this should sustain you till they put you in a box.
In a box, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I go home. My sister lives in Louisville. She was like, oh, we got all this homeless projects and things going on. We just need people to lead them. You should come. And every time I go home, she takes me around these areas.
Wow.
She's a nurse, and she works directly with the homeless.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering if anybody else in your family has had this calling, and it sounds like it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Interesting how what happens in our life when you look back to get you to where you're at.
It's in the blood, man.
It's something. It must be. Hindsight's 20/20. So you look back and you're like, okay, that's why I went through all that stuff. So I tell people I was built for this because there's you see a lot of hard things, hear a lot of hard stories. You got to make hard decisions and try to persuade people as why that's the best decision of multiple possibilities. But all that I learned in the military, and as an officer, being able to look at these different courses of action and anticipate what their possible outcomes. You got to make a decision. You got to make a decision, and that's what I tell my staff. You got to make a decision. And when they come to me like, hey, we want to do A or B, and I usually say yes, and that drives them up the wall because I'm not about to tell you what to do.
Right.
I've pretty much given you your parameters, and that's how it was in the military. You got your parameters. But when you're on the ground, I'm not there, right? So whether you're working with the kids or the homeless or whatever, like the vision and mission, the policies and procedures, right? Now make a decision. And as long as none's burning down, the cops ain't coming to arrest nobody, and no kid is getting hurt, right? Yeah. I'm pretty much leave you alone.
You're describing the difference between a boss and a leader, man, and you are a leader. You've picked out some good people to work with. You recognize their skills. Yeah. Once again, going back to what you said before, you find out what they can do, and you tell them, all right, go do it. This thing needs to be done. Go do it. Yeah. And I'm impressed by them already. I've talked to Amber, and I think it was John.
John Lewin.
John, yes. Mm-hmm. He was on, and just impressive. He runs the house, and I think Amber runs
she's the brain.
The brain, yeah. So you have people that work for you, work with you. Yeah. I don't know if they work for you or with you.
Yeah. So philosophically, I gave a TED talk that with is greater than for.
Correct.
Yeah, and so from the board, the staff, and the communities we work with, I don't ever say we're doing things for people. I say we're doing things with people because everybody has something to contribute. Whether it's an idea, whether it's some type of resource or some type of skill, everybody has something to contribute. So I always we're going to do this with people. For is too paternalistic. Like I used to do things for my kids, tie their shoes, feed them, clean them, right? But I got a 21-year-old son. You would look at me crazy if I tied his shoes.
Yeah, you're teaching the man to fish is what you're doing.
Yeah. So
you now Coho was 13 years ago. You started with driving down the wrong road or the right road, I guess is right the way I should put it.
Yeah.
And how has it grown since then? What have you taught the people to do for themselves, and what have you brought to them?
Yeah, so, I mean, we've, over the years, and this is a process, right? Nothing, I think people have a misconception that when you go and help somebody, that all of a sudden a 180 happens. Like, that 180 is by degrees. And so if it's by degrees, it's over time. And some shift through those more quickly than others because there's a whole host of different issues with each one of those persons, right? So as a, for each person, we've had moms in the community join the board. We've had Amber, for instance, she lives in one of the communities.
Yeah.
Right? So she started as a volunteer, and now is working in the organization. We have an initiative called 10 Jobs, and it puts homeless guys to work. Right, they're able to go out and earn money and use that money however they need to address their situation, but they have the opportunity to improve their situation. There's no handouts. Basically.
No, I imagine the guys that are on the corner asking for money, they don't want to be there. They're embarrassed.
No.
Yeah, nobody wants to be there.
Yeah, so everybody's given an opportunity, and those opportunities happen over time. Like our Coho Gardens was a idea of somebody lived in Oakwood. His name was Brian. He passed away a few years ago, but he organized the whole thing, and now that garden is in 4 different locations in the city. Every summer, with a partnership with Baptist Health Foundation, we do a farmers market and hand out like produce during the summer. Helps free produce, healthy produce that's too expensive in the grocery store, but we talk about that we need in a state that has high obesity. Figure that one out. So people get free produce, to eat healthy, and have classes to learn how to cook it, employ teenagers as well.
You say free produce, they're working the land to get that produce.
Yeah, they're working it.
Like a farmer would say free produce.
Yeah, there's no free produce. There's no, in the traditional sense, free in exchange of I'm getting something, I'm giving you money.
Right.
But especially during the summer, community members will come out and they'll come in the building and they'll get all the tables and chairs. They'll do all the setup, helping with the produce, help weigh it, and we collect demographic information and stuff. And they're just all in it. And my garden coordinator, she just kind of just oversees.
Right.
Manages problems.
Do you say you have a farmer's market that people from the public can come in?
Yeah, everybody can come. But it's primarily for the community.
But they can purchase, and all that money does go back into the Coho. How do you do it, man? How do you do it?
Because I say everybody's welcome to the table.
Yeah.
And so check all your stuff at the door. Whatever I'm this way and I'm divided, because check all that at the door. Come in, recognize that you are a human being made in the image and likeness of God, and love one another. I mean, that's what the book says, basically. That's what it comes down to. Love God, love people. So,
Phil Fletcher, we're getting to know more about you and the Coho. And then, we still got the Venn diagram with Karen Walker. Now, one of the things that you mentioned is that you met each other at the Mosaic Church. Expand upon that. I mean, people need to gather and have some good fellowship. What's the Mosaic Church?
We're just a non-denominational church that just love people. And like Phil talks about being welcome to the table, we have people from different ethnic groups, economic backgrounds. It's just people who love Jesus, right? And love the people around them. Some people who have found it difficult to maybe adjust in other places or haven't been to church before or whatever, feel comfortable with us. We don't do a lot of the bells and whistles.
What's a bell and whistle?
To me, a bell and whistle, we don't have like the gigantic TVs and all the
Do you have a band?
stuff. Yes.
They're great singers.
Great singers,
Oh,
yeah. And so different every week you may see different combinations of people there and stuff. It's not for everybody, but it works for me for right now. That's where God has me. We have, like I said, people who passionately love Jesus, and they walk alongside others who want people to come alongside them, and we just do life together. And that's one of the places too where I met Phil. I knew of Phil, but actually physically being in his presence was at Mosaic Church. And then sometimes he would preach, and every now and then we still ask him to come back because he always has just really a bold message from the Lord, and it always stirs you to do something. I know way back my husband, he said even though he lived in Arkansas, he always lived in Little Rock, right, until we got married, right? And so, until he met Phil, he said he wasn't even aware that Conway had a homeless population. I'm like, dude, are you serious? But then I have to remember he grew up in LA, right? So when you see homelessness, it just looks different. And until Phil Fletcher, he didn't have really a clue that Conway had a homelessness problem, right?
I hear, the homeless population in LA. I mean, I'm from Miami, and I know where it's warm, that's where the homeless people go. That's where they need to live. You find them on the beach, just sleeping in tents or in hovels or in a cardboard box. So coming from L.A., a big homeless population, and then you come to Conway, and I could still look on every major street corner. There's going to be a guy with a sign or a girl with a sign. Hey, please help,
But that's recent, though, Dan.
Is
About let's say 10 years. Yeah, even 7 or 8 years ago, you didn't see that.
Okay, I'm only here since 2009. That's when I got here to Conway.
This is new.
3 years ago, the Arkansas Supreme Court ruled basically that people can stand out on the corner and panhandle. So at that point, you saw
an explosion.
Yeah, because before, I lived there since 2007. You never saw that. And then 2-3 years ago, I don't know, it's like a message went out, and you saw all these people. From here to Little Rock, wherever,
they work in
standing
shifts.
out with signs. Yeah. And
that's new.
It is. It's a recent.
Have you been in contact with any of the actual people that are on the corner of I-40 and Oak Street?
Yeah. So periodically, I'll go out and I step back because many times, especially you get a large amount of information on social media, and we have like this Ask Conway page and all that.
Yeah, I'm in that.
Yeah, and so sometimes people will comment about panhandlers and things like that, and they have all these assumptions, right, that are not based in reality. And the only way it can be based in reality is that you got to take a moment to actually go talk to the person, just like we're talking right here. So periodically, I'll go out there and get some Lipton teas, whatever, and give it to one. That's a good conversation starter, right? Because they're looking for something. So when it's hot, I'm gonna give you something. At least get you through the time that you're out there. And I ask them their name. That's the first thing. Who are you, right? And why are you out here, right? And what that conversation. So some are passing through, trying to get somewhere else, and so that's why they're getting the change.
Hopefully, those are the out of gas, stranded.
No, those are more a person trying to get like on a bus.
Okay.
They got as far as they could, or a semi guy or a lady, gave them a ride as far as here, right? And that's what it was. So they got to keep going to where they're going. Some trying to get to family, right? So everybody's got a different story. There's others that's trying to get a hotel stay, for another night, which is not the most efficient, but they're doing what they can. And I am sure that there are those out there that is on the hustle.
Oh yeah.
If you get any group, you look, and within that mass, you're gonna find onesies or twosies that are out there not for the right reason. That's reality.
And that's the bad apples. You're
right.
saying
So they take the bad apples and they broad brush it across everybody instead of getting to know their story. And when it's cold, especially down at the interstate, they'll go sit in the McDonald's right there. So I'll go in there and talk to them.
Yeah.
Right? And you just get to know their story, and you direct them to resources. At the end of the day, you lay the resource out. They got to make the decision to go there. They're patronizing McDonald's, so McDonald's is not going to tell them to leave.
Right, you can buy a small fry and
buying
stay there
small,
all day.
they're getting a drink. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And sit there and, if they've got a phone, they can connect to the Wi-Fi. As long as they're
And
patronizing.
try to plan their
Exactly.
next step.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on, but it requires, though, if you're not going to take the time to get to know the situation of that person, I would prefer that you just not say anything.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty myself of pulling up on people. My first thought is, man, that guy's standing there. He looks able-bodied. He's standing right in front of the Home Depot. Why can't he get a job? Well, I haven't taken the time to ask that question.
Yeah.
Phil Fletcher, you're taking the time to ask that question.
Right.
Why haven't you got a job?
So the difficulty is, I ask the questions.
Yes.
Right? Then I put the information out. Then it's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, which makes absolutely no sense, because I took the time to talk to the person that you're talking about that you have not taken the time to talk about, but yet you're stereotyping them as if you've got all the information, when in fact, you're being ignorant, essentially. You're lacking the knowledge. So for those persons, I say, hey, there's people out there, whether it's Coho, like the Ministry Center, Bethlehem House, they're having these relationships with these men and women. They understand what's going on. At least take the time to listen to those quote-unquote subject matter experts to understand the situation of those individuals with the knowledge, yes, got it. There's those onesies and twosies out there.
That's what I grew up with, is in Miami when they had the investigative reporters that would go and follow these homeless guys that would they go off to their Mercedes and drive away because they made about $500 a day panhandling, sitting out there on the streets. And that's what stuck in my head, because before the internet, that was the internet, was watching the news. But they're going to blow up that little story, that onesie twosie.
But I'll say this, that is, so if we'll take your number of $500. So if you're out there from 7 a.m. Right till the sun sets, right? So like 6. All right. So you're out there for 11 hours, and all you could walk away with is $500. That's a lot of hard work, though.
But a day, you could have been someplace else.
You could have been, but that's a lot of hard work to stand out there on that corner.
I'd say that's good money, though.
And subject yourself to whatever.
The elements and the carbon dioxide.
So other people could, you're right, go make $500 a day in air conditioner, right?
I wish.
Yeah, and keep their feet up. But then I'll say this, are you happy?
Yeah.
That's a whole different situation.
Well, I get it.
So that person may be out there happy doing that. And then I look at, you look back in the Bible, if you will, there were panhandlers in the Bible. So famous example is the one at the Gate Beautiful. And Peter and I believe it was John was coming. He was like, I don't have silver and gold, but such as I have that I give you. Rise, walk up your bed and walk. Right? Take your bed and walk. Right? So he was one whom nobody was taking care of for whatever reason, and he was out there. That's all he knew. But those types of persons, whether they were unable, or able, were all throughout Jerusalem. And so what do we say to them? I mean, we could say, hey, go get some little trinkets so you can sell them. Okay, or go fish. Actually, that's probably the predominant occupation back then. So, even then we can look at the scripture and see how did they deal with panhandlers. At least acknowledge them and say something. That's what Peter did, right? I ain't got no money, but I'll pray for you, right? But James then comes around and says, hold on a second now. But if you got something, it's not enough just to say, God bless you, and leave them. Do something. Do something. Right, so
it goes back to the teaching the man the fish thing, and that's what you do. That's what you've been helping people to build their own homes, to build their own gardens, to build themselves up, dig themselves out of poverty and into a normal life, quote unquote. Yeah, that's excellent. Phil Fletcher, Karen Walker, back to you. And how are you involved with Coho? how did that first meeting at Mosaic Church, I'm guessing, go with you and Phil Fletcher? And what was the first thing that he said, oh, you got this skill, let's do this?
Man, I don't know. It seems like it was so far back, right?
I make people think about things that maybe they hadn't thought about in a while.
I don't know. It's so far back. And then I've become friends with his wife, Nicole, and so they're kind of like one, and they've been on this journey with Coho together for a long, long time. And so we would sit and talk about some of the things that's happening, that they're trying to do and stuff. And then I had that first year, I went to, this is before I wasn't on the board, I went to one of the Thanksgiving dinners. Is that what, at ILS, is that Christmas? Yeah, the Thanksgiving dinner. And just people coming out, and what I like about Coho, especially with that made me go, wow, it's not, oh, here come, let's feed the people. It's come and we all eat and dine together. You sit at the table, you eat, you have conversations, you really listen and hear their story. And what we all realize is when you really get to know people, they're not any really different than us. We have different paths, maybe some different experiences, but at the core of it, we're more alike than we are different. Right, so
I talk to people on all different points of the political spectrum, and yeah, we're all alike, man. We all want the same thing: roof over our head, food for our kids,
absolutely,
a little money in the pocket.
Absolutely. So that's one of the things is being exposed to that, and just seeing I love to hear about the Coho academies. We were able to provide books, AETN to some of the academies. But one thing I wanted to share, Dan, I know I'm kind of maybe off topic, but
no, let's go off on different streets. I'm good with that.
It's amazing to me to watch from a distance the staff do what they do. They're not making hardly any money. Mm-hmm. And so it's not about the money, right? And so I go back to the passage of scripture that Phil was talking about. Silver and gold have I none. That's me. I'm not wealthy at all.
Yeah, I live pretty simply.
Me too. But such as I have, I give. And that's what we're wanting people to do. Even with this basketball tournament, when the work is going on, we wish it could go on with no money, but in reality, things cost, right? And so we're wanting people when you see the tournament, get involved. Grab a team. It's not about being the best baller out there. It's about let's pull together. Let's do something cool and fun that's going to benefit a lot of people right here in Conway. This is not another let's have a banquet. It's not let's sell this, let's do that. This is let's bring our families together and have some fun. And then let's benefit some of the people here in Conway. So I love that piece. So no matter what you have to give, whether it's dollars or time, there's a place at Coho for you to serve because there's so many facets of it. If you love the children, you can get in there with the Coho Academy. You can help tutor. You can help do storytelling. You can help teach just basic life skills. There's all kinds of things you can do with the kids. Or if you want to do something with the adults, you can do that. John is there with the Hope Home. There's so much to do. And I just love that there's a place to plug in. But a lot of times we get so busy in our own stuff that we forget that God has called us and equipped us and given us talents and things to equip and build others up. It's not just for us and our kids and our families, so.
Karen Walker wrapping this up with a bow and just bringing it all back around to why we're here. Let's close this up with you telling the people exactly what this event is that we've got promoting. And then Phil Fletcher, Karen Walker, I do want to talk to you more in depth on a future podcast. Maybe have you on for the hour of your own. Tell your own story and get the word out about what you do more. But Karen Walker, tell the people exactly what you got going on coming up in the near future.
In the near future, on March 14th, is where we're going to gather at the Hyper Center, UCA, and have this amazing 3v3 tournament. This will be the first one for Coho, and it will be our annual fundraiser. We have just a dynamic volunteer, Jared Williams, is doing a great job in pulling things together for us. He's even locked in and got some awesome trophies. I mean, these are like big mega trophies. Getting ready to go for the game. He's the one that locked us into this venue, so he's working hard. We got others behind the scenes. Odie Phillips Jr. Shout out to him. He's secured all our referees for this event, and he referees himself, so he's given of his time. We just want this to be a great gathering for families. We need sponsors. We need a few more sponsors. So can you jump in if you can't get a team together? Hey, sponsor. If you're a business, you know that you can write that off on your taxes. What better way to spend marketing money than in a way that's going to help other people? So we need sponsors. We have the levels. You can go see them out on the website, or you can contact us or contact Coho, and we'll gladly give you those sponsorship levels. But we're going to have a total of 16 teams, 4 for each division. That's junior high. So all you AAU ballers, you got high school, you have adults. You know, some of these guys and gals, you can go back and live your glory days, grab a team. And then we have the business and organizations. Shout out all the coffee shops. Get a team. Who's going to take home that trophy? Who is going to be crowned the first big winner of the 3v3? This is a great opportunity to be the first. So we want you to go out to the coho58.org website. Sign up a team. And you know what? You may see some kids in your neighborhood. This would be a great opportunity to invest in them. Sponsor them. Let them get in the game. Let them show their balling skills. Let them spend some time with other mentors and adults who can help cheer them on. So that's what we have. 3v3 ball team. If you've never had a 3v3 team, know that you need 4 people. You need 4. You need the 3, and you need the 4th person that can tap you out if you need it. So 4 people. The cost per team is $80. I know some people may go, wow, yep, that's $20 a person. You know why? Because this is a fundraiser, right? This is an opportunity for you to spend some money, but not only is going to get you a fun time, but you're also going to do some magical things for some of these kids and adults right here in the Conway community.
You can just spend $20 at the movies to go out. You might as well spend $20 and go play some ball and help some people. Right?
Absolutely. And then get some good swag in the process, right? And some good fellowship.
So coho58.org is the only place to go, or they have some kind of a Facebook page maybe?
Just go to coho.org and go out to the Facebook page too of Coho, just Coho Facebook page, and you'll see some of the flyers that's been going out there. You'll see some of the Facebook posts and the board members we've been shouting out on our pages and stuff. We just want everybody to rally together. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. And in the process, let's have some great people.
Karen Walker, Phil Fletcher. Phil Fletcher, I'm going to let you have some last words for the people, and then I'm going to have Karen Walker do last words for the people, and then we'll get up out of here and go have some fun. Phil Fletcher, last words.
I would just say to your audience, remember to be loved, be kind, and be generous. We all have the opportunity to do that with somebody in our community, in our city, in our home. So we could continue to cultivate that, and makes our job a lot easier. Be loved, be kind, be generous.
Phil Fletcher. Karen Walker?
My last words is kind of like, if you go look at my Karen Walker Speaks logo, you'll see a little sunrise, and that's a reminder that every day that sun rises is a new opportunity for you to make a difference in this world we live in.
Well, there you have it, party people. Karen Walker, Phil Fletcher, exciting. Coho. Find out more about this 3-on-3 by visiting coho58.org, and you could find out more about how to get involved in your community. They help the homeless, and they help people that are in transition, and people that are impoverished help themselves get out off the streets and into homes and have a roof over their heads. Yes, that's what people want. So thank you so much for listening, and thanks for being on the program, Karen Walker and Dr. Phil Fletcher. I appreciate you being on the program, and I look forward to talking to you a little bit more in the future. In fact, I've set up another podcast with Karen Walker and Phil Fletcher, so you'll get to hear a little bit more about them in the near future. All right. Thank you so much. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Follow Keys Dan on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of keysdan.com. Follow Radio What on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of radiowhat.com. The music you want is on.
If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening.
Radio What, the music you want, with some great quotes. Fail to prepare, and you prepare to fail. Benjamin Franklin. The music you want, radiowhat.com.